What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Groovinator from RaidersOfLostFlix.com. Hope you all had a stellar weekend. I did too. Other than it being unconditionally cold for Florida, I know a lot of you people are like, oh, cry me a river. Florida being cold, really? Yeah, well, when you live in the tropics for a couple of years, your body starts getting conditioned to tropical weather. And when it starts dipping at 50 or below, you really feel it. And you're like, what's going on? I don't know what's happening. But anyways, let's talk about the box office a little bit. As you know, I did my first episode of Raiders Lost Flicks live last weekend. It was a pretty big success. Got a lot of clicks on that. A lot of positive response. That's where we talk about movies and TV every single weekend. So we did a review for Midway and The Mandalorian, and we did Maleficent 2. This weekend we'll probably be doing It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the Mr. Rogers movie, and probably some other movies and TV shows as well. I don't know exactly just yet, but they will be announced when that happens. Thank you very much for being a part of that. Let's talk about the weekend totals. I got a little bit off subject there. So Ford versus Ferrari dominated the weekend with 31 million, and Midway at 8750. 8 million. It's not doing really quite as good. You know, a little bit of a drop off from before, but that's because it's been out for a couple weeks. And the big disappointment was Charlie's Angels. Only 8,600,000 gross. I know it cost at least, what was it, 100 million to make. You know, I mean, this movie is tanking even worse than Terminator Dark Fate, and that's no surprise. I mean, some of these movies, I mean, they're marketed towards a very specific audience, and I'm trying not to get political because I'm very much about leave the politics out of the movies. I mean, if you want to make political movies, that's fine, but understand that you're really narrowing your grasp of people that want to watch things. And so when movies like that don't do well, you can't just act like you're shocked that this isn't happening, because not everybody wants to see a movie where you're advertising towards an audience that wants to empower somebody by making somebody else weak in the film. I mean, that's not really what you want to do. You know, it's just, it's how many times are we going to see these kind of movies coming out like Charlie's Angels, where you replace any kind of a good story with politics, and, you know, especially the social politics, you know, and people don't show up for them, and then we're like, oh, why didn't they? It must be some kind of a conspiracy. Nope. People have spoken. People decided to go see Ford versus Ferrari instead. And this is not a male-female thing. It's just that they wanted to see actors that they recognized doing something good. Acting. You know, a good story. Something that wasn't full of CGI and, you know, bad one-liners, and the requirement to see 15 movies before you see this one, and then setting up sequels for another movie. People are tired of that. People want to see an individual standalone movie that has a narrative, it has a script, it has, you know, structure, good acting. You know, traditional movies is what people want to go back to. And I think that's great. I'm for the first time in my life, I'm actually excited that Hollywood, I think, is taking a slow step in the right direction. Because, you know, how many more Charlie's Angels and Terminator Dark Fates and Ghostbusters 2016 will we get before they realize that those movies will not make them money back, that you will not make a return on your investment? Now, the case with Charlie's Angels, not quite as insidious as Ghostbusters 2016, because with Ghostbusters, you took something that was loved by everyone, men and women, boys and girls, kids and adults, and you tried to turn that into a female empowerment message instead of just being a funny comedy. Because I'll be honest with you, when I watch these movies, I'm not looking for the politics. In fact, I'm going out of my way to look around the politics to see if there's anything else there to be entertained by. Because you get the message, you know? It's like the point comes across in the marketing, in the trailers, in things that people are saying in the media. You already know that. So it's not really any big surprise or twist that the movie is just trying to broadcast to, you know, white man bad, you know? So we're not surprised when we see that. We knew that going in. What else do you got? Are the jokes funny? Is the show entertaining? You know, I mean, No, I seen Ghostbusters 2016. I finally sat down and watched it after all that drama unfolded, and I'm like, well, it's just kind of a boring movie. I mean, it seemed like there was a lot of fuss about nothing. At the end of the day, after all of the backlash and the cringy marketing and how hard they tried to drive that movie down everybody's throat, it was just a very basic, boring, bland comedy. I didn't laugh once in the entire thing. It didn't offend me. It just wasn't entertaining. And from what I understand, I didn't go see Charlie's Angels because it was clearly not aimed at something that I was interested in seeing. It was not made for me. They were very clear in their marketing that this is, an empowerment movie, and that's fine. At least they were picking, women. It wasn't doing a race swap or taking something that people loved and trying to turn it into some kind of a message. See, what I'm trying to get at is not every single movie has to be a message, Stop preaching to people. Just entertain them. Just entertain them. If you want to sneak these little messages into the movies, I'm fine with it. I'm fine. But just drip feed it in there. Don't make the movie about trying to reprogram people to believe a certain aesthetic. It shouldn't be like that. It doesn't need to replace any kind of a good story. Now, to be fair, the original Charlie's Angels back in 2000 didn't have much of a script either, but it was funny and it was entertaining, and broad audiences went to go see it. It did really well. The sequel did well financially, but the sequel was terrible because it was just a long, extended montage of bad MTV videos. You know what I mean? So, but that's just, you're going to make a bad movie. Usually sequels are not very good. Very seldom has the sequel been as good or better than the original. There's only a handful of those movies that have ever come out over the years, and you probably already know which ones they are. But in the case of Charlie's Angels, I mean, nobody is shocked other than the director of this movie that this happened. You know what I mean? It's how many more of these? I think the biggest frustrating part with me is how much money are people willing to lose before they get these messages? Before they understand that this audience that you're marketing towards is not enough to carry your movie. You have to, I'm just not saying every movie has to be PG-13 and marketed towards, families. I'm just saying that you have to have something interesting. You have to have something more than a message. Not every movie has to be a statement. Movies need to be entertaining. I want entertainment to be fun, all right? I think it's starting to get there. I myself would like to go see Ford versus Ferrari. It looks interesting to me. And look like we'll get some good performances. From what I hear, it's great. Hopefully I can sneak out to see it sometime this week. Like I said, I'm definitely seeing A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I don't know why I can never remember the name of that movie. I just want to call it Hello Neighbor, but that's actually a video game. That's not a movie. Why do I want to say that? Why don't they just call it Mr. Rogers? Make things easy. But whatever. The next Tom Hanks movie is what I'm going to be seeing for sure. And then I'll try to see how many other movies I can sneak in. I have a very busy week next week with Thanksgiving. I have relatives coming and whatnot, and my content will be kind of limited. Plus, if you notice, I've been live streaming a lot more, so I do shows on other people's channels, and then people come to my channel. For example, this week, The Boardroom, which is me and three other YouTubers, I should say. We get together and we kind of hash out what's going on in nerd culture. That's going to be on my channel this Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. So I don't know exactly what we're going to be talking about. We'll probably be talking about this a little bit because, like I said, I don't want to just make videos now where I'm just bitching about one subject. I'm trying to get away from that. But on the live shows, I'll probably still put my 2 cents in. That way, I'm kind of limiting myself and not talking about the same subject on 3 or 4 different live streams. You know what I'm saying? So that's what'll be happening, so make sure you check that out. Also, I have a watch party on my channel this weekend. Oh, not this weekend. December 7th. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. December 7th, Saturday, we're going to be watching the Star Wars Holiday Special on this channel. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. If you've never seen that movie, it's an exercise in madness. It'll make you go insane. But if you're watching it with us, we'll help you get through it. But it's really funny if you listen to how we react to it. You know what I mean? So even if you're not into Star Wars, because I know I don't have a lot of people that are into Star Wars on this channel, and that's fine. I'm trying to respond to everybody's, what they would like to see, and I'm definitely trying to turn this into more of a movie channel than it is just me getting on and looking for some subject and bitching about it. But I am going to point this one out real quick right here. This is by John Nolte. He says, "We don't hate you, Hollywood. We're just hating you back. You started it." And that's probably the best statement. That's the best way to summarize what's going on right now. It's like I love movies. I want to love movies. I love going to the movies. I like going to the movie theater and sitting down and watching them. I've gotten away from it in recent years because there's just so much sanitized, political, horrible movies. A lot of reboots, a lot of sequels. I think we're going to start to move away from that because they see the successes that they're getting from movies like Ford versus Ferrari and Joker and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and they're realizing that they're going to have to try again. You have to have a good story, a good director, a decent performance, some actors that people like. Old school Hollywood, I think, is slowly coming back, and it makes me excited, and I'm glad to be a part of that transition. But anyways, what do you guys think? Are any of you even remotely surprised that Charlie's Angels failed this weekend? And you know what? To drive the point home, I never want to see a movie fail, but was anybody asking for a sequel to Charlie's Angels to begin with? Anybody? I don't know anybody that wanted that, other than Elizabeth Banks. So obviously she's going to be upset about that because, her vision was that and nobody else was on board with it. So there were just not enough people to support that kind of a movie, and that's just a tough pill that she's going to have to swallow and deal with. That's just the way the world works. Anyways, you guys have yourselves a groovy day. Oh, and also I'll be on Etep Coolion's A Place to Be reviews tonight on his channel at 8:30 p.m. Links are in the description. Make sure you check me out there. And I will see you on the next one. You guys have yourselves a groovy day.
Thank you for watching this video. We hope you are entertained. Like, share, and subscribe. And visit us again.